Hey guys, it's Human54 here. Long time no see. I'm home for a week from college, and at my locals today, they're having a huge tournament for a box of Storm of Ragnarok, which would be perfect for my 150 subscriber box opening. I currently have 145 subscribers, so 5 more to go. Also, shout out to the Shadow Karas 666. If you watched my mail video, he was the one who guessed that the cards are for a Black Ptera OTK deck. So once I film the Black Ptera OTK deck, a link to it and his channel will be somewhere at the top. Back to that tournament for today, I plan on using my Dimensional Eatos deck, which I have not used or updated on YouTube in a very long time. So here's the update and enjoy. Alright, 3 Guardian Eatos. Basically, it's a 2500 beater that can be special summoned when you have no monsters in your graveyard, and it's the key card of the deck, and personally one of my favorites in the whole entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 Beast King Barbaros. I removed Forbidden Chalice and took it into the side, so I'm only using 2 Beast King Barbaros with 2 Skill Drain in the deck at the moment. Next one might be different when we're allowed 3 Skill Drain again, but I've never had a chance to say that I wish I had a third Barbaros in my deck. 2 worked perfectly fine for me. 1 Stratos, and that searches out your 3 Neos aliases, which are basically just 1900 Gemini beaters. Alright, now something new. 2 Dark Valkyria. This card is 1800 attack, 1050 defense, Dark Gemini, and its Gemini summon ability is that when it's Gemini summoned, it gains a spell counter, and you can remove that spell counter to destroy a monster on your side of the field. On your opponent's side of the field, which is very good. So you can, if you have no more monsters in your hand, you can do that, and then attack with Dark Valkyria, or you can Gemini summon it, use the ability, and then use Gemini Spark, so basically you can clear the field and draw another card, which is very, very good, because advantage is key this format. Now, 2 Doom Caliber Knight. This card is perhaps the best thing this format anybody could ever want in an anti-meta deck. Doom Caliber Knight works under D-Fisher and Skill Drain. Got 1900 attack, 1800 defense, and now with 6 AMI running around everywhere. And if they try to use one of their abilities, like special summoning someone, Doom Caliber Knight goes off, and then the chain ends, and that's it. It's good against Gravekeepers, Debris Plant, anything that has a key ability. Even my own scraps, but Doom Caliber Knight is perfect and is so broken in this format. Now, 1 Dark Simorgh. Dark Simorgh I've been using in this deck for a while now. That's extremely precedent in this build. What happens is that you have 2 Doom Caliber Knight and 2 Dark Valkyria, and you have 3 Eatos and 1 Stratos, which is 4 wins, 4 dark. That's really good for Dark Simorgh. And with Dark Simorgh, you can make the lock, which is Dark Simorgh and Anti-Spell Fragrance. Because Anti-Spell Fragrance says they have to set everything, like their spell cards, and Dark Simorgh says they can't set. So that means they can only summon monsters in attack mode. Or, with this build, you can make the ultimate lock, which is Dark Simorgh, Anti-Spell Fragrance, Gravekeeper Servant, and Dimensional Fisher. Because when Dimensional Fisher and Gravekeeper Servant are out, it's basically that they can't attack you at all, because they have to send the card to the graveyard to attack. And of course, the Fisher moves things from play. So that's the ultimate lock, meaning they can only summon a monster in attack mode and hope for the best, so I won't run it over with my 2700 Dark Simorgh. And last of the monsters, 1 Morphing Jar. It's key in this deck. Well, I wouldn't say key, but it's very good in this deck because you run very little monsters. And it's always good to refresh the hand. Now, the key thing that makes this deck anti-meta, 3-dimensional Fisher. When something's supposed to be sent to the graveyard, it goes to remove from play zone instead, which wrecks a whole bunch of decks because most things rely on the graveyard at this format. 3 Gemini Spark. You tribute off one of your Geminis, destroy one of their cards, and draw a card, which is, again, very broken for Geminis, especially since I have 5 Gemini cards, and I have 2 ways to search them, so Gemini Spark will never be dead. Of course, stuck to the back of Gemini Spark. 2 Book of Moon. I like Book of Moon in any deck, but since it's going to 1 for the March format, the only thing I would change in a couple of weeks is I would replace 1 Book of Moon, if you're rich, with 1 Pile of Duality. I don't know what I'm going to do because I only own one Ptera Duality. I'm not made of money. I don't plan on getting another one. It's hard enough to get this one, but Ptera Duality is a very good card. And the only conflict it has with this deck is if you're trying to bring out Eatos. It's like, say, Ptera Duality, you activate it, you show 3 cards as an Eatos, and you're just like, ugh, I wish I could special summon it, but it's not that bad. You just summon a 1900 beater, they're most likely not going to get over it, and you can special summon Eatos the next time. So, if I had 3 Ptera Duality, I'd run it, but if you have none, 1, 2, 3, you run what you got, and it's not that bad if you're just one Rhoda, which gets you Stratos and Alias, pretty self-explanatory. 2 Gravekeeper Servant. This in D Fisher states that they can't attack, so it's basically like the ultimate Swords of Revealing Light, and it's a really good stall anti-meta tool. Now I added this like 2 nights ago. 1 Foolish Burial. What happens is inevitably stuff will end up in your grave, so you might as well make the best use out of it. Dark Simorgh can be special summoned in 2 different ways. Either if you have a Darkened Wind in your hand and it's in the graveyard, you can remove the Darkened Wind in your hand, to special summon it from the grave, or vice versa, if Simorgh's in your hand and the Darkened Wind in the grave. So either if I have Stratos and Dark Valkyria, they're just these examples, in my hand and I have Foolish, I can just dump Dark Simorgh to the grave, remove those, and I have Giant Dark Simorgh on the field. Or do the reverse, like Foolish, finish on with Dark Valkyria while you have something Stratos or Eatos in the grave, you have Dark Simorgh in the hand, and then bam, you've got Dark Simorgh beater. So Foolish Burial is very good. Ignore my family in the background. Now, 1 Dark Hole, it's basically a staple in a deck now, and look, it's shiny, which means you know how old this Dark Hole is. And last 2 spells, 1 Soul Release. It basically just clears all the issues when you have stuff in the graveyard and you want to special summon Eatos, or it's good against your opponent if they have like a Plague Spreader or a Necro Gardener in the graveyard, if anybody even uses those anymore. Traps, 1 Macros Cosmos, it's the exact same thing as D Fisher. 2 Skill Drain. You use this, your Barbaros turns into a 3000 beater, and Skill Drain does not hurt your deck at all, but it will wreck many other decks, so it's a very good choice to use in this deck. 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This makes the lock with Dark Simorgh, and again, doesn't hurt me that much, but hurts my opponent because it forces them to set spell cards before they can use them. Now, 2 Dark Bribe. It's very important to protect your main cards of the deck, like D Fisher, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and Skill Drain. No card does it better than Dark Simorgh, and them drawing 1 card is not really that much of a set-off. And remember, those cards make this deck, so you must protect them at all costs. 1 Solemn Warning. I only find 1 Solemn Warning necessary, and honestly I only own 1 because this is an anti-meta deck. You want to keep your life points in case they have something that gets around it. Like, a tough matchup for this deck is like Gravekeepers or, what was I about to say, Gladiator Beasts, so those are a bit tougher because they don't really care if their stuff's in the graveyard that much. So, compared to other decks at least. So 1 Solemn Warning is perfectly fine. Again, I don't own another one, and I don't have space for another one even if I wanted to. And some staples, Solemn Warning, Mirror Force. Now, on to the extra deck. The key cards for the extra deck, because you don't really synchro in this deck, are Elemental Gaia, Stardust, Blackwing Armor Master, and Chimeric Fortress Dragon, all of which can be explained by my side deck choices. Now, just to make sure I'm safe for the tournament, and just in general, I also have a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8 star, with Catastor, Bryonic, Black Rose, and Scrap Dragon, all of which are very good cards, and if I can get them out, that's very useful. And a Shooting Star Dragon, just for the heck of it, because I find that when you have the card that matches the mat that you're using, I find that to be very lucky. Just saying. Alright. Now, for the side deck. 1, Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. This is the only way that this deck can synchro. It's also a very good anti-meta card because it cuts your opponent's monster attack in half, and say, I get out Blackwing Armor Master a lot with this because a lot of the cards for the deck are 4-star, but sometimes you have weird stuff like this in Morphing Jar can get me Catastor, or this in Cyber Dragon can get me Scrap Dragon. 2 Cyber Dragon. I use this in all my side decks. It's good against Machina, if people even use that much anymore. It's 2100 attack, special summoner, and it's, I wouldn't say broken, but it's very useful. 2 Thunder King Ryo. This completely messes up decks that special summon, especially 6 Sams this format. So that's a very good card to use. And they can't draw stuff. The only thing that conflicts with this is Rhoda and Pot of Duality in this deck, and I can easily decide them out. But Thunder King Ryo should be in the side of every anti-meta deck. 1 Kakari Ninja Model 339 Sazank, which is the longest, stupidest name in the whole entire game, but it's a Raiko without the mill, which is very useful for this deck, and I only run 1 because I don't have enough space for 2. 1 Nobleman of Crossout. Basically, your biggest threat to this deck are face-down cards, like Snowman and Year or whatever, because there's, like, if you're gonna have a head-on-head battle, your Eatos is most likely gonna crush anything that they can normal summon on their own, and Nobleman of Crossout takes care of those pesky face-downs that you're not sure about what they are. 1 Forbidden Chalice. It's basically a quick play skill drain, and I wasn't finding it that useful or had the space in the main, so now it's on the side. 2 Prohibition. I use this in all my side decks. It's such a lifesaver. I can declare whatever I'm versing. In round 2, if I'm versing Inferni, I can declare Launcher. If I'm versing Blackwing, I can declare Sirocco. Gravekeeper, I can declare Spy. You get the point, but Prohibition is definitely a lifesaver. Now, Super Polymerization and Miracle Fusion. This get you your Elemental Hero Gaia very quickly. And again, take advantage of the stuff that's going to be in the grave. Miracle Fusion, if you have like an Earth or whatever, or E-Hero in the grave, you can Foolish and then bring out that, and then you can Eatos. And Gaia is a very good beater for the 1 turn that he's gonna last, because he absorbs half the attack. And Super Polymerization, again, if you have an E-Hero and they have an Earth, or they have an E-Hero and you have an Earth, it's a really good way to make that, and it'll even be even better when the Shining comes out very soon. I don't have Absolute Zero, but I don't use it because most likely people aren't going to use waters too often, and I don't use any waters in this deck. Traps. 1 Starlight Road. Like I said before, it's very critical to protect everything in this deck. Starlight Road gets you a free Stardust, and it does just that. And last but not least, 2 Tuner Scheme. You do not synchro in this deck at all except for Gale, which doesn't even happen very often. So one big threat that your opponent can do is summon a synchro monster that's bigger than one of your monsters, and Tuner Scheme takes care of that. They summon it, you can get control of it, and they're basically stumped right there. Just to go back through the deck really quick. This is the Eatos deck that has long been overdue for an update. Again, shout out to the Shadow Karos666. He was the one who guessed the mail update, and his link and the Black Ptera link will be up there as soon as I upload the videos. And wish me luck in the Storm of Ragnarok tournament, Humanity 4. Signing out.